In 20 years of banking, I was trained for violence, panic, and high-tech thieves. I was never, ever trained for politeness. You think you know what a bank robbery looks like from the movies, right? Masks, yelling, everybody on the floor. That pounding of your heart in your throat. In my career as a bank branch manager, I've been trained for every kind of takeover. The violent ones, the silent ones, the high-tech ones. We have binders. We do drills. We have procedures for everything. But the one thing they never put in the training manual is what to do when a robber politely asks to pause his own robbery. It was a Tuesday. A dead Tuesday. You know the vibe. It's that 2 p.m. post-lunch lull, where the quiet in the branch is so loud you can physically hear the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. I was in my glass office, the fishbowl, half watching the lobby. My main job on days like this isn't really banking. It's just making sure the "please wait here" sign is straight and that the deposit slips are fanned out just right. I was sipping coffee that had been on the burner for about 3 hours. You know, the kind that tastes like burnt toast and regret. Out on the floor, it was just me and my best teller, Amelia. She was at station 3, and the only sound in the whole place was the rhythmic sound of her counting out 20s for her drawer, getting a head start on closing procedures. It was completely, painfully normal. And in banking, normal is good. Boring is great. Boring is safe. Then, the bell over the door chimed. He walks in. And let me tell you, my internal threat assessment didn't just stay quiet. It went back to sleep. This guy wasn't a threat. He was just a guy. Khakis, a slightly too small polo shirt, sneakers. He looked less like a robber and more like a guy who was about to ask for a car loan he knew he wouldn't get. No mask, no weapon, no frantic energy. He just shuffles up to Amelia's window, kind of looking at his feet, and quietly slides her a folded piece of paper. A note. Now, I'm watching this from my office. I can't read the note, but I don't need to. I saw Amelia's face change, and here's the crazy part. It wasn't panic. It wasn't fear. It was confusion. She looked down at the note. She looked up at him. She looked back at the note, her brow furrowed, like she was trying to solve a bad word problem. But training is training. I see her glance down, just for a millisecond, toward the underside of her counter. That's where the silent alarm is. We all just call it the panic button. It's not a big red cartoon button. It's a small, discreet switch drilled under the lip of the counter, right where you can tap it with your knee or hand without anyone noticing. I see her body shift. A tiny, subtle movement. She's hit it. We are now live with the police. The guy is just standing there, shifting his weight. He looks a little embarrassed. And Amelia, who deserves a raise, an absolute pro, just looks at him, gives this tight little customer service smile, and says, in a perfectly level voice, "I'll be with you in just one moment, sir." That's not in the training manual. And this guy nods and steps aside. He literally goes and leans against the wall, right next to the pamphlet on understanding your mortgage rates. He crosses his arms and just waits, like he's just been put on hold by the cable company. My mind is racing. What is happening? I grab my office phone, keeping my head down, and dial 911. The dispatcher picks up, and I start the whisper protocol. "This is branch manager. Your name at the First National on 12th Street. We have a silent alarm activation. Robbery in progress." "Okay, sir." The dispatcher says, "Is the subject armed?" "How many subjects?" One," I whisper, peeking through my blinds. "And, I don't know, he's not doing anything." "Sir? What do you mean he's not doing anything?" He's just waiting. By the pamphlets." Amelia told him to wait. I'm pretty sure the dispatcher thought I was nuts. "Yes, robbery in progress. Station 3. "No, he's just waiting. The guy stands there for maybe 30 seconds. In a situation like that, 30 seconds feels like an hour. He's looking at the clock on the wall. He's looking at Amelia, who is very calmly not looking at him and pretending to organize her cash drawer. He's fidgeting. Then it happens. Suddenly his eyes go wide. It is the most cartoonish, visible light bulb moment I have ever seen in my life. It was like he'd just remembered he left the oven on. He looks at his own face. He looks at his hands. He looks up, and his eyes land on the black and white security camera bubble above the main door. His jaw drops. He scurries, that's the only word for it, back to Amelia's window. He's hunched over. He doesn't yell. He whispers loudly, like a kid in a library. Oh, wait. He's waving his hands like, no, stop. I'll be right back. Don't do anything. I forgot something. And then he turns around and leaves. He doesn't run. He just walks out the front door at a brisk pace toward his beat-up sedan in the parking lot. The bell chimes again. He's gone. The branch is silent. That fluorescent hum is back, louder than ever. Amelia and I just lock eyes across the lobby. We don't say a word. We just stare at each other. Our faces are just blank. We didn't know what to do. Did he just reschedule? Did he have a scheduling conflict with his own robbery? We're standing there in total silence for a full minute. A minute is an eternity. Is this a trick? Is he coming back with a friend? A weapon? And then, just as we start to hear the faintest sound of distant sirens, the front door chimes again. It's him. He's jogging back in, and he's fumbling with something. He's trying to pull a black ski mask over his face, but he's struggling with it, like it's a new t-shirt that's too small. He finally gets it on. It's crooked, one eye hole is on his cheek, and he runs up to the counter, slams his hand down, and yells, "Okay, now this is a robbery." Just as two uniformed officers, who had been waiting quietly in the ATM lobby, tackle him from behind, he went down like a sack of potatoes. It was the most polite and most pathetic arrest I've ever seen. The officers cuffed him, pulled the mask off, and it was just that guy. The guy from the pamphlets, looking more confused than any of us. So here's the insider secret they don't tell you in bank training. We spend thousands of hours and millions of dollars preparing for the worst, the smart, organized, professional criminals. But sometimes, the real enemy isn't malice, it's incompetence. To all my fellow tellers and retail staff, tell me the most ridiculous customer moment that left you speechless.